Hello, everyone. My name is Levi Fuller. I'm the administrative coordinator at Jack Straw Cultural Center. Very excited to be here to present our artist talk with New Media Gallery artist May Maylisa Cat. If you are here in the Zoom room, or if you will be joining us here, you're welcome to ask questions later. And if you're on Facebook, you can write questions in the comments and we'll try to get to them later. The exhibit is available to be visited at the Jack Straw New Media Gallery in the U District in Seattle. Generally, our hours are 10 to 5:30. You can give us a call, 206-634-0919, or email jsp@jackstraw.org, and we'll find a time for you to come visit. That's through September 10th, so you still have about 4 weeks. And we do receive funding for our artist programs, of which the New Media Gallery is one, from the City of Seattle Office of Arts and Culture, For Culture, King County Lodging Tax Fund, Washington State Arts Commission, National Endowment for the Arts, Arts Fund, the Rainier Foundation, and this exhibit is also supported in part by funds from the Oregon Arts Commission. So thanks to them. So yeah, with that all said, I will hand it over to our artist, May Maylisa Cat.
Hi, Eli. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you everyone for being here today. I'm really excited to do this artist talk at the Jack Straw Cultural Center. I'm going to be showing a slideshow of my work, and then I'll play some of the videos that exist right now in the show. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, just give me 1 second. Can you all see? So it just told me that the audio might not work. So I might have to restart Safari. But if that happens, I'll just do it then. Is that okay? We won't hear anything, I guess, until like later on. So we'll see. Okay. So hi, my name is May Maylisa Cat, and I am an artist, a multidisciplinary artist based in Portland, Oregon. My work deals with media culture, food culture, labor, identity. Specifically for the Jack Straw Cultural Center, I am working on a project, Karmic, and I'm also working on, and so with this exhibition, I was able to present you Karmic II. And I'll talk a little bit about its history and kind of like its anthology and like what's to come. Okay, so what you see on the screen right now are some examples of horror movies that are specific to Thai media. So you'll see some contemporary horror, which you can see like around here, and then you also see this woman with her head floating and her intestines and guts kind of floating. So she's this vampiric, cannibalistic, ghostly figure in Southeast Asian like kind of staple, of like the folklores and things. And I was really interested in her because of how she evolved in the media throughout decades, from like 60s films to like contemporary films now in the 2000s. But also when I was younger, my grandma would like wake me up to school by like playing this like soap opera that like featured her. Yeah, and so the theme of this was that like who is the ghost in the village, right? Like who does she haunt and things of the like. And so I wanted to trace back, just looking at my culture or like my life and just like through the lens of her. And also I just wanted to note that when I was in school, when I was in art school, I saw that artists of color, like artists who choose to do work about their culture, are not really seen as, an artist. I do the capital A and the art aren't really seen as art with a capital A, and that they're seen more as like cultural workers and the work that they make for cultural artifacts. And so coming out of that, I wanted to challenge myself and just kind of like commit fully to making work that's about like my culture and just kind of examine that, like whether like, you know, like just having a conversation about it, like what may come. And so with this was kind of like the beginning of a longer investigation. So this body of projects started in Portland, Oregon. In 2018, I was doing a new media fellowship at Open Signal in Portland. And with this, I proposed that I would watch Thai horror movies for a year and then create an immersive installation exhibition at the end of it in 2019. And so like what you see here on the screen are some of the video projections. So on the left, you'll see, you'll see on the left are two children eating, but what was in the video was me capturing sunrises and sunsets in horror movies to talk about death and rebirth and reincarnation, and just kind of like this cosmology that is not so Abrahamic or linear. And that's also like a theme throughout this body of work in Karmic I and Karmic II, this like non-linear cycle and cosmology, reincarnation kind of themes. What you also see is I start to read a lot about horror, and I was mentored actually. This program gave us some stipends to have mentors, and I chose an art historian, a Thai art historian, and curator and academic who like waste no time right away and said, you know, like we're gonna do this together. Like you need to read up on these theories, the media theories. Read up about you know, Asian American artists in art and all, and violence in art. You know, so he wasted no time to like kind of prepare me to like where I am now. But what you'll see is like I was investigating inverted horror. Inverted horror is this idea of when intestines or hearts or our insides like crosses the threshold of our skin, our fluids, our blood. That's when it becomes terrifying, when it crosses that barrier. And so I wanted to play a little bit with pigs and cow's heart and just kind of like making them playful and then projecting them on a wall. I don't want to play these two. I realize that it kind of messes up the browser, but like what you can see is like I magnify them onto the wall. And what I start to realize that like a lot of things in horror movie tropes in media, really, it's about framing perception and like playing with that perception. It's really telling you how to view certain types of people, what to see, what is in the frame, what is outside of the frame. You also see certain videos where I just capture like religious figures inflicting violence on ghosts. And like what I also realized a lot in horror movies, especially like Thai horror movies, was that there was just a lot of Asian women being realized, right? And so realizing that that's not what I wanted to show, and like that's not what I wanted to honor here in this exhibition, I started to show like different perception of like what causes the violence and who's the actual recipients of harm. We'll come back to that. I don't know why it doesn't show. But we'll come back to that. Okay, so so this is like a behind the scene kind of thing where I'm playing with like dying intestines in different colors, but also I start to do these performances where, you know, I was eating and like projecting, like rearranging these like intestines and hearts and things like that onto a mannequin, and just examining how do you construct fear, what is mastication, you know, like just kind of like playing with like deconstructing these tropes through performance and through my own way of how I understand things. So then like kind of like fast forward in 2020, I was in Santa Fe and I was doing more performance art. And here you'll see me doing like this ASMR mukbang. So I was like using like my body and voice and like whispering and things like that to start to make sounds. But also like so basically in this performance, I was eating pad thai live while like things were being broadcast live like right now. But I was in the other room and viewers were able to like send me requests or just talk to me. And so like, and then like it was then projected onto a wall. And so like this is where it's projected, like the audiences were in the other room and just kind of like witnessing me eating things. But because I was whispering and like the sound was like magnified so much, like every like crunch, every like bite, like they can hear it just like coming through the speakers. And what the feedback that I got was that like it sounded really scary for them. Like it sounded like they were in a horror movie. But also like I actually like blended this pad thai food into like a blender with like white bleach to make like a fusion pad thai. I didn't eat it though. And here, this is like the screen that's like in the middle of it. You know, this is like the behind the scene. That's like my cohort fellow, my cameraman, who's kind of like working with the mic and the camera. But also like, you know, I was really interested in food and power. And this was something that I started to see a lot with Asian artists. So maybe I should. So like I started to like just kind of looking into like commodifying like cultures, you know, just because I like committed to just being like, yeah, I'm gonna do stuff about my culture. And it's like, so is this culture commodified? Like, am I presenting myself authentically, or it's just through like the lens that I've been told that's how I get perceived, you know, that's how I get to be visible. And so I started to act a lot more. I started to like put myself into videos, and I like stopped just being behind the camera, but being in front of the camera, because I just like reading this media theory, I realized that like I realized the term of the data body, which is like the body that exists as like in the digital sphere. So like just imagine like a meme of like Kim Kardashian or something, and like you can do anything to like her memes, right? Like her body or like her data body just kind of like exists as public sphere. And so like I start to like think a lot about like, what if it's just my body and that's just like out in the digital sphere and I don't use anyone else's bodies because like I don't give them agency, and like that's what like I want to honor like people having agency, right? And so here like during COVID I was at Chautauqua, and I get to make this wonderful video during COVID. I guess we'll watch it now. And it's called Kinok. Can you tell me if you hear sounds?
Wow, thank you, honey.
I'm gonna try to full screen it. Full screen. It's not getting full screen. Okay, I'm just gonna go to YouTube. Can you see YouTube? Can you like drop in the chat that you can see this? Chat. Okay, you see it and you hear it. Okay, great. So I'm gonna full screen it because it deserves to be full screen. I play this so much in Miami, and I have a story on that. Okay, so this video work is called Flankino Leadership Corner.
Wow, thank you, honey. Yeah, I have the best wife. She cooks the most authentic Thai food. Of course, honey. I was on the internet today and I got into a fight with someone. I told them that using the word falang kino towards the white expat like me in Thailand is the same as using the N-word. Well, honey, I don't think the word falang kino is the same as the N-word. Of course it is. The word falang kino literally means bird shit born. I think it has more of a colonizer connotation. Well, how would you like it if people in the West are discriminating against Asians? You know, with COVID-19, we are being discriminated against. Treating them. It's not hypothetical. Sometimes I feel like you don't agree with me because you don't love me. Oh, yeah? Sometimes I feel like you just marry me for money. Oh, really? So I marry you for hypertrophy. You just left Thailand for my business trip, never knowing. You know what's so funny? Men who seek international marriages are usually at the lower rung of the ladder in their society. They rely on imperialist romance and cultural and language barriers to present themselves as the prince in shining armor. I think you're the real scam here, hiding behind all of that. Honey, are you okay? No, honey. Did you use toothpaste? Yes, I use real Thai ingredients. Thai peppers? I love them. Call 911. Won't they come and shoot you? No.
Yeah, that was one of the video pieces that I made during last summer. And you know, I think that was when I started to like lean into humor a lot in my work and just started to you know, talk about some serious things like processing trauma through parody, and I think that helps a lot. So every time I like play YouTube, like the browser just like shows this, so it's gonna exist now. So that's why. Okay, so what happened? So I have like multiple projects going on. Like I really enjoy that part of myself where I don't specialize in one thing because I just feel like the messages can get out there in so many ways, right? So through like commodifying culture, this is one of the projects where I was mimicking everything from a white-owned Thai restaurant. So I would start to like take this menu and like blend it, put it in like the source apps and like make broken English, and start making these like glass chicken wings because like that restaurant was known for the wings and like I wanted to be known for my wings. And so like I started to kind of like assemble these pieces and like color coordinate, which you know, and I start to like make more cultural like merchandise. I start playing with like Instagram bot where the bot was just like stealing everything. It was just like committing cultural theft online on like the Instagram of the restaurant. And like funny enough, like it just picks up a lot of hashtags. So like someone is like using like the hashtag of the restaurant to like sell nails and things like that. So was like an interesting experiment, you know. And like I started to create like more merch and things like that. It's like ideas, just like having these like absurdist imaginations. And then I like, and then like I started to use the images of things I make into like different worlds. And so what you see is, you know, like, so I started to ask like, okay, like, so if I'm making these things that like this like restaurant definitely can't replicate, and they just become art, like, where do these things sit? Where are they situated? And so I started to really get into like world building and also speculative fiction, right? And so here, like, this was like a sketch made into like a pixel art image. And so you see like a fire that's like in the window, that's like the wildfire, like the firestorm that's happening in like the Pacific Northwest right now, in Oregon where I live. And like the rain of the Pacific Northwest, which doesn't like is like gone now, I guess. And then like the smokes. I was really like traumatized by like the toxic air last year because I had to like sleep with like a N95 mask on. And so like I decided to just to make this into its own world. And you see like these like really like sexy chicken legs. That's what I was described. That's what I was told on here. And so like, you know, this, so like you'll start to see like how the projects start to build up off of each other. And then like I wanted to make some commercial jingle. So I was like, what if I like make a jingle of me trying to sell all these things during the firestorm? And I actually like made this during like the toxic air that happened like in September. Just to keep my mind off of the natural disaster. And so, you know, I sort of like shoot back and forth with like this friend to like make a commercial jingle and like incorporate things in Portland. So I'll just let you do it. Yeah, so I like, feels like the Portland police enjoy announcing that they're there and like shooting people. I just thought that was like a truthful moment and trying to like capture it into this commercial jingle. So like disaster capitalism, I guess, was on my mind a lot. And so during the summer at Chautauqua, I also, you know, as I leaned in more into humor and as we were like on Zoom a lot, I did this performance called Horror and Its Universe. And this was supposed to be like a presentation of my work, and it was like through like Pekakusha style, which is like 20 slides, like 10 seconds each. And yeah, so I wanted to like punk people, I guess. And so like I started to like make this into like an introduction to like Southeast Asian horror movies. So this was first performed in 2020 during a workshop with contemporary art historian Alpesh Patel, who's a wonderful human being, by the way. And so like it starts off as like this basic like course that I would like talk about my work in Karmic one. But then as you go through it, you realize that like ads start to show up. And so it was just kind of like taking, like I was trying to recreate when I like got stranded in upstate New York when COVID first started, because I was at another residency. and like the ads that would just appear to me would just be like this came later when Biden was running, but like like gun stuff. I don't know. And so like I wanted to like capture that and like put it into the slide. And like just kind of capture the things that was on my mind that I was like, I can't believe I'm seeing this. And then with Jack Straw, I was able to like take these like music and jingle and like rework this performance into like a full-fledged piece. And so, like I was making better ads. I was able to like say more in ads of like, okay, I see a lot of like fake guru like ads popping up. I'm starting to see like a more like class divides, like like people are losing a lot of money, like and just like capturing the conversation that's going on. And like remake the ads so that it's more clear, I guess. I was like doing those things, the first version in like Google, like in Google Slide, which is like hard. And I didn't have like Final Cut and like the tools that I did have because I was stranded, So I had to do a lot of things on freeware, and I had to like see a lot of ads. Yeah. And so like I then was able to like incorporate like the ads that like the ads from the stuff that I was making in my other projects, so like the chicken wings and like a lot of like I was able to like use the ad to its full advantage, I guess. And I'll play some sounds, but I really enjoyed like being able to do this at Jack Straw because of the studio and like how quick it is to make decisions, because you didn't have technical flaws because you have like an engineer doing it for you. So yeah, I'll play this one.
Fok is an 8-bit game where you play as a Thai food delivery boy and his fight for survival during the COVID-19 pandemic. You need to deliver the food to the customers by dodging cars and obstacles. Watch out for the baddies, the Karens, and the girl boss.
So I was able to make more ads like that, like using my voice and just like doing things I didn't know I could do with audio. And so I'll talk now about what like the other sculptures that's in the show, and then I'll get back to like these ads and horror and its universe. So what's also in the show are sculptures that are adult magazines that were cut out with a laser cutter, and they were superimposed with horror movie posters of the ghost, like the flying head ghost Pikachu that you saw in the first slide. And so, back in March, I was at a residency in Miami, and I heard the news of the Atlanta spa shooting, and like I was like really surprised how the people that I saw were grieving and the people that I didn't know weren't grieving. Like there's like, oh, that sucks. And it made me think a lot about Karmic I, seeing how like, like, holy shit, like Asian women on media being shown, being like acknowledged and recognized is when they just share like a collective trauma. Are you kidding me? Is when they're experiencing violence and being brutalized. And it just made me think about like, the micro invalidations, like the fetishism, like the things that add up every day to like gender violence and like this tragedy. And so like for this exhibition, I really thought a lot about like, how do I want to like communicate that? And I went through so many sculptures. I was like doing like collages. I was like doing like gift wrapping as like collages. I was doing like, I was like trying to find spa ads and things like that. But I think like what led me to this was like, well, I just need to go to like the stores. Like these like vintage magazines like existed at like an adult store in Seattle. I called to like see like who would have them, and you know, I decided to go grab them because I realized that like I just needed to use the source material on like what I think started, you know, like these media depiction of like how to view Asian women. And so like I'll talk about my experience with this. And I guess I'll show a video. I'm gonna switch to QuickTime. So I'll stop here a little bit. It works. Okay, so with this, I realized that like I was really triggered, like looking at these materials that are like so offensive. But then it made me realize that like this is how like certain generation view me. Like, so I'll just play this a little bit. So I realized I also have audio here, and it's from one of the music that we made at the residency. So. And yeah, there's the exhibition. Yeah. Go back to the screen. Yeah, so like you can see like the process of the laser cutting and things like that. And you know, it was like really triggering to see like these kind of media that has existed for decades, but it tells people that like I am the recipient of these harm. You know, like I am like the rightful recipient of these like harm that's coming to me. And so like what was really fun about the laser cutting was just like kind of mutilating these birds. That's like flatty font, or like just saying these like really offensive things, and just kind of like denying certain things to be looked at. Right? And I also used UV lights in the exhibition, just because I wanted to alter like ways of seeing things a little bit. I wanted people to kind of like have their senses kind of alter, like thinking things like, did I see that or did I not? What else is there? What else? If I like just hold my gaze a little longer, like something else might appear, right? And so on the right, you'll see like this case of where the little cutouts are kind of like laid out in a very like surgical and kind of like sterile way, just to like just to like look at the flesh a little longer in like a less like carnal way, I guess. And so I mean, I feel like the iPhone photos don't pick up a lot of color gradation, and like maybe like my eyes can see a lot more when I'm in the space. But like I wanted to give that like altered like sensation. And that's something that I've really liked with this project, Karmic 1 and 2. So in Karmic 1, I've realized that the sonic elements were telling people when to be scared. So they really manipulate your feelings. And so I've decided to make the show silent. And so in Karmic 2, I was really happy to play with sounds, recreating like music that was from the soap opera, to like using my own voice to like perform through slides, but also like making like ad space and just being kind of campy with it. So I'm gonna play horror and its universe. It's gonna be 8 minutes. Is that okay? And then we'll answer questions. And that's gonna be the end of it. Yeah. Okay. Let me just. It's always so awkward on Zoom. And I kind of like the awkwardness of it. All right, so I'm gonna play. So what you see here is what's on the screen, like the projector, and when you walk into the exhibition. And so I do hope that you'll check out the exhibition and just kind of like check out for yourself, because I'm very much a visual person. And so I enjoy seeing things, but also like seeing new things every time. So, all right, I'm gonna play.
Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm here. Hi. Welcome to Horror and its Universe at the Duper Union School of Art, course QT FOK 12. As you could see, things have shifted a bit due to COVID, and here we are. You can call me by MC, that's my initial, and just let some folks in from the waiting room from Zoom, okay? All right. Okay, so in this class, we'll be learning about the wide range of experiences in the horror genre, including media theories and tropes. We'll be watching several films during the class and outside of class. Assignments will consist of you, the students, recreating your own horror tropes and characters. Students will learn how to elicit emotional responses from the audience, from fear to terror to relief and just paranoia. As always, you can reach me at mc@duper.edu. So let's look at the syllabus. So on week 1, we'll be learning about killing the patriarchy. We'll look at the monstrous feminine. We'll look at, the ghost mother who's always coming back because of her child. we'll look at the dutiful wife who's so in love with her human husband, that loyalty. We'll also look at the popular girl in a white dress. That's a very popular one, you know. And then on week 2, we'll look at the economy of the horror genre. We'll look at the development of transnational horror, from Western horror versus Eastern horror.
Bok Bok is an 8-bit game where you play as a Thai food delivery boy and his fight for survival during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Wow.
You need to deliver the food to the customers by dodging cars and obstacles.
No.
Watch out for the baddies, the Karens, and the girl boss.
Wow. So you have to excuse me. There are some sponsor ads from our sponsors because of the financial situation of this institution is such. And also because many people have died and nobody wants to work anymore. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so for week 2, we'll be looking at economy, how the horror genre is literally crafted for human consumption. You'll see the example, the movie Shutter, which was made in Thailand in 2004 and then adopted for Hollywood in the US in 2008, then adopted for Bollywood in India in 2010. So for week 3, we will be looking at ghostly appetites. We'll look at the hungry ghost. We'll look at vampirism, cannibalism, and ghostly desires. Why are ghosts hungry? Why do ghosts eat? And how can we negotiate desires and offerings when it comes to hunger?
This is
Oh, no.
the perfect gift for you and your loved ones, and a great way to treat yourself. A set of sake shot glass and a butt plug, which are made from hand-blown glass.
Wow.
You drink sake from the shot glass, then you insert the butt plug into your anus. Bok Bok is the perfect gift for any sake lover.
Okay, so the ads are based on our algorithms of who's present in the class. So once again, I apologize. Let's go to week 4. So for week 4, we'll also look at inverted horror, which is why is it scary when humans see fluids and bloods and guts when it crosses the threshold of the skin and the body? So this is supposed to be a slide of my work, but I guess this ad is taking up space. This ad is all over it. This ad of white men is taking up a lot of space here. So I guess my work will always be overlooked or a mystery. So let's talk about the cosmology of ghost. Where do ghosts go when ghosts die? When ghost is no longer a ghost? Is there heaven or hell? Do they go up another karmic level? So in week 6 and 7, we'll learn about poltergeisting, which is the ability to haunt through objects. In my opinion, that's my favorite way of haunting because you get to haunt through absence. You get to haunt through not being there. And so I guess this is why humans love ghosting so much, right? So in week 7, we'll go into Karmic Justice, where ghosts get to deliver paranormal punishments. We'll be also watching one of my favorite movies, which is Phobia 2, an anthology of 5 short movies. And oh, whoa. Yeah. Well, I think we're getting Zoom bombed. Elizabeth is my assistant. Are you still there? Okay, well, can you make this go away?
The Bok Bok D platform is an authentic, eccentric, and delicious art piece.
No. Is someone...
Inspired by the resurgence of 90s platforms.
Okay.
The Nike SB Dunk High.
In collaboration with Momofuku and
The Kentucky Fried Chicken. In collaboration with Crocs Classic Clogs.
Are we being haunted right now? What's going on?
the Folklore Movie platform takes it to another level. Be the talk of the town at your next protest.
Okay, well, I guess we would just have to end our session right here. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here once again on Zoom. I know that a lot of you came from COVID, but some of you are also here from state-sanctioned violence and femicide, and currently the West Coast fire. So in this class, we'll be learning how to create horror for those living, because you're all dead, right? Because if you're not dead, I don't know why you are here. This is a class for ghosts learning how to haunt humans. All right, so our first assignment is to come up with our ghost name. Mine is obviously MC, which stands for Murderous Camel. So I hope you don't drop this class. I hope to see you next week. And I hope to see you next week. Okay. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Yeah, that was the video that exists in the show. I also wanted to mention a little bit. Okay, so first, I didn't know how the sound went. I realized how like a whole tech team here should just let them play it instead of on my end. So I hope it worked out well. If not, then you should just go watch it again on YouTube. I also wanted to mention that there's like the elements of glitch that's involved. Like I've been really into exploring glitch, just so that just the idea of like warping the image, warping the created image, is something that I've been playing with. And also, and also like I was able to use the sounds of the ads and just kind of incorporate them here. So I enjoyed that a lot. So I'll just share my last screen, which is here. So yeah, this exists in this exhibition, and I guess I'll just end it. So the exhibition is here until September 10th. It would be great if you all could see it IRL. And I think this is it. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about my work. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, May.
Yeah.
Are you able to hang out for a minute for questions if we have any
Sure.
any questions from folks? Either here on Zoom, you can speak up, or throw something in the chat or comment on Facebook Live. One thing I was thinking about was, well, yeah, first of all, the use of glitch is perfect for this medium, the live streaming medium. I remember actually for the opening reception, we actually there was a little bit of a glitch in the way that we were streaming it. And so I was watching it and I just thought, like, right when the haunting started happening, like it dropped out and paused and the audio came in and out. And I was like, I literally can't tell if this is part of the thing or not. And it was just kind of perfect. And then just now with the sort of audio issues that were happening, it's just like the awkwardness of Zoom kind of folding in on itself. And it just, I don't know. It was like a beautiful synchronicity.
Oh yeah, okay. So y'all lost the sound for like a certain slide.
Yeah, just for a second. I think the sound was actually going out through your speakers and back into your microphone, maybe.
Okay.
Who knows? Again, it all worked. So
total amateur. But yeah, hey, you gotta watch it. Like, yeah.
All the more incentive to come visit the gallery and see it on a big screen. But also just your use of humor, I love, and I was wondering if you just sort of naturally like go to kind of humor and satire with stuff, or if also, because you're dealing with some really serious and heavy things, and I'm wondering if it's also a way to sort of help people absorb maybe more intense messages. So I don't know if it's like a sort of natural tendency you have, or a way of kind of combining these messages. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I use humor in my work now, and I think that before 2020, the summer before COVID, like I didn't lean into it as much, but now I'm fully leaning into it and just like accepting that I like to do parody because that's a way of me processing certain traumatic events, right? And like the delivery of it like lands a little bit better sometimes, like to people, right? Like they could take in the humor, but like there's this thing that is attached to the humor. Yeah, I hope that answers it. But yeah, I realized too that like artists who make really serious work where they sometimes have to like re-traumatize themselves, they feel really depleted. Like, and sometimes like after like a certain presentation or so, you just see them feeling so exploited, like by institution. And I just like, I guess seeing that and realizing that like using humor as like a buffer where I don't get to that point where it's like a burnout from like re-traumatizing myself and trying to speak about something so serious, is a good way to go about it.
Yeah, and well, you even talked about that with this, how some of the material you were working with for this show was kind of pretty intense and triggering, and so maybe being able to sort of switch modes and focus on the humorous side, you know, I could see how that would be helpful for you as an artist. Well, I love the show, and I do think, as with all of these things, it all comes together in the room, and it's really powerful. Dominic was wondering, want a little more info on the music elements. I don't know if you saw his question. He was wondering if the music elements were composed by you, and I know you kind of collaborated actually with a couple of folks at Jack Straw on that, right?
I did, yeah. I was very lucky to have Daniel and Miriam help me compose this music. They were so great. Just so like the music was from the soap opera of the Ghost, and so we recreated it, and it sounds pretty, I guess, like because of like the water kind, like the aqua kind of sound. But then in the intro we actually reversed it, so just to like play on that idea of like when you like play a record backwards, something like that, like the devil speaks. So just kind of like just honing in on those like tropes.
The backward masking.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
What is the name? You've mentioned that soap opera. What was the soap opera actually called?
I know the Ghost name. I like Oh yeah, it's called Grasu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So the soap opera is the same name as the ghost.
it's a ghost. Yeah, it's like
and is that like a mythical character, or is it something that was kind of started more in the modern era and just carried through different, like a Slender Man sort of thing? I don't know if that would make sense.
not Slender Man. I know about Slender Man and BIPOC and all that, but this was like a folklore.
Oh, it was a folklore. Okay.
Yeah, so like I can talk about her history a bit. She's actually a Cambodian princess that was married to a Thai prince, and they caught her having an affair with a soldier, and so they were going to burn her. But the day before, she went to a witch who crafted her this potion where she can't be burned, but it only worked like it needed more time to work, and so everything else was burned except like her head and her intestines and insides. So yeah, so she's like been recreated throughout, in
Right.
media.
Well, that all makes sense. That's cool. Thanks for the background.
Yeah.
And do you enjoy watching horror movies at this stage, either Thai or otherwise?
Not during COVID alone. Like I was in Pittsburgh and I was like living in a 3-story building by myself, like at a residency, and it's like that's where I can't watch horror movies. Like certain nights, like there would just be like a knock or something, I was like, I don't want to find out. So, but hopefully again, when this is all over, maybe like next year, like I could have some gathering and watch a lot of horror movies.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for coming to Seattle and putting the show on and being part of the Jack Star Artist family. Thank you to everyone who is here with us tonight. And we will, of course, keep this stream up on Facebook, and we'll get it up on YouTube before long too. So let folks know they can come back and watch later. And we'll have a podcast, interview podcast with May coming out in the coming weeks or months, depending on how long we take to produce it. So
Okay.
Thank you so much. Great to see you. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you all.